Temi Ajayi. I am the medical director for one of the compounds that we are studying, and I am leading the cystic fibrosis indication for the compound. My parents are both nurses by training, although my father has been in the business end of nursing for quite a while. And so I kind of have that sort of medical background in my family. However, I'm the only person of 5 children who went into medicine. And I can't say that I grew up like many of my friends and colleagues all through medical school who knew that they wanted to be a surgeon because that's what their father did, or, you know. I'd say sometime in high school, when trying to decide, you know, what I'm going to be when I grow up, you know, it's the old adage, and it's kind of cliched in terms of, well, you're good at science and I want to help people, I'll be a doctor. So funny enough, and it seems like a lifetime ago, one of the things I was particularly interested in was psychology, psychiatry, and now I just can't even imagine why. But so that is to say that my initial interests are significantly changed from what I eventually went into. So I grew up in New York. I went to Stuyvesant High School, well, it's a public high school, but it's kind of focused who are interested in sciences. So there's an entrance exam, so that's how it's different from a public school, but it is a public school. From there, I graduated, moved to Cambridge, and I went to Harvard, and I got a bachelor's in biochemistry. And from there, I went to medical school at Einstein University in New York. Then after getting my MD, I went to Columbia, where I did a year internship and 2 years residency as part of my training for internal medicine. It took a brief break. During residency, I was trying to decide between specialties. It was clear to me that I didn't want to be a general internist, but wasn't sure what I wanted to specialize in. So I took some time to decide between infectious disease and pulmonary disease. So, and the way the training is that you actually have to decide 2 years before. So because of that, I took a year out and I did something called a hospitalist position, where basically I worked in the hospital. I was hospital-based, did not have any clinic, and took care of physicians' patients who were hospitalized in a certain community hospital. From there, I went to San Francisco and did 3 years of my fellowship, where I specialized in pulmonary and critical care disease. Stayed on for an additional 3 years doing research, you know, working in the hospital and the clinic, and then I came here, back east to New Jersey, worked for Shearing Plow for 2 years, and now I'm here for 2 months. For industry, I think it's typical in that certainly the position that I'm in now attracts physicians. Obviously, I think it's a natural fit that, you know, if you have a drug development, that you'd want a physician leading the development. And I also think it's typical in that, at least from what I understand, is that it's usually physicians earlier in their career, as opposed to they've been working for 30 years and then decide to go into industry. I think it's more likely, at least my understanding is that, you know, someone with, you know, not practicing for 20 years, but early in the career would then make a switch to industry. This job was unique to me because in my entry into industry had been to a large company. So I had some expectation in regards to some hopefully efficiencies that can occur in a smaller setting where there's less bureaucracy. You know, you can speak more directly to the people that really make the decisions, and that has certainly been the case. I think that my expectations are also that because of the nature of what I'm working on, the innovation factor and the medical need that this compound will fill, that there would be, I don't want to say more interest, but certainly more, a lot more consideration of sort of almost the pure medical scientific part of drug development. That I would see a lot more of that, and it'd be a stronger factor in the whole, in the whole picture. And I found that to be true as well. Again, in the context of where I'd been before. I think critical thinking. I think that's good for any job. I think the people who do well in any job are people who can first identify problems, and on the flip side, when problems are given to them or a task is given, that you can think about it systematically, and also try, I want to say almost creatively as well. I think one thing that attracted me to this job is that given the patient population, there's some innovation to be kind of moved forward. And that is, I think, a function of having and identifying proper endpoints. And that kind of is, to my mind, the linchpin, what I've learned in the last 2 years, that's the linchpin of drug development. Really is the linchpin of experiment, but certainly in drug development. So being able to kind of think outside of the box a bit, yet playing by a set of rules that I have learned and am learning in the past couple of years. Creating, that sounds really weird, I know, but taking something that was nothing and then having something.